Democrat flex. Trump is in cognitive decline. It's begun. The left is trying to turn the tables and declare that it is Donald Trump who is in cognitive decline. If it weren't so sad and desperate, it would be funny. A professor at the University of British Columbia claims to have assessed the cognitive functioning of both Biden and Trump. He warns that Trump's mental decline is more apparent than Biden's, but Biden's cognitive failure could be disastrous in a second term. Professor Paul Quirk is described as a politics professor. He's not a mental health expert or a psychologist. He teaches politics. Yet, he claims to have assessed the situation of the presumed frontrunners in the 2024 presidential election. He is an American citizen, having graduated from Harvard and taught at U.S. universities before he went to Canada. The professor claims that Trump's decline is more obvious because of his slurred speech and gross, repeated errors. That's a fairly clueless observation, IMHO. Biden is known for his inability to speak without slurring and mumbling and the non-stop lies. Is repeated errors code for lies? If so, this guy is just clutching for straws. He's Canadian, so take his hot takes for what they are. Just another progressive worried that Trump may be on his way back into the White House. Trump has made some gaffes lately, that's true. However, confusing the names of Nikki Haley and Nancy Pelosi is not nearly as alarming as hearing the leader of the free world try to conflate a financial package for Ukraine with funding NATO. Ukraine is not a member of NATO. His lame slam toward House Republicans who declined to take up the Senate's foreign aid bill just proved the point that Biden is dazed and confused. In the match-up between the 77-year-old Trump and the 81-year-old Biden, Quirk found that while Trump's cognitive deterioration is more obvious, Biden's cognitive failure might result in Biden refusing to relinquish control if necessary. During his second term, I'm old enough to remember when opponents of the previous president voiced concern that Trump would never leave the White House. They fantasized that Trump would declare himself president for life. Sounds like old Joe will have to be carried out feet first if he wins in November. Quirk said, from the standpoint of the campaign, Biden's age should be less of an issue than Trump's more apparent cognitive decline, displayed in slurred speech and gross, repeated errors in one campaign rally after another. Although Trump's decline is more obvious, Quirk said, Biden's is equally worrying. The legitimate concern about Biden's age is that by the end of a second term, he would be almost 5 years older than he is now. There is obvious potential for serious cognitive failure by then, and if it occurred, the real danger is that Biden would fail to recognize it and refuse to let his vice president take over. This may be meant to run cover for Joe Biden after the Hur report found the president to be an elderly man with limited memory. The Hur report rocked the Biden administration with its brutally honest assessment of Joe Biden after 5 hours. Split over 2 days with him. The report confirmed what Americans have known for quite some time. Joe Biden is in mental and physical decline. He's 81 years old. It happens. There is nothing that Biden or his campaign can do about the aging process. They can either ignore it, as they did up until the Hur report was released, or they have to pretend that all is well. That is why you hear such inane statements from Democrats and those in the White House. Biden is energetic, he's sharp, he's the hardest worker anyone has ever seen, blah, blah, blah. The White House and the Biden campaign will do and say anything to keep the power and control they now have. The truth is that voters are not excited about the November election when it comes to the choice of candidates. The frontrunners are too old. Trump is aging better than Biden, but he still has an age issue, too. But voters have not been convinced, with a recent NBC poll finding a total of 62% of voters had major concerns about Biden's mental and physical health and 34% of voters had major concerns about Trump's. Likewise, the vast majority of American voters, 86%, said President Joe Biden, 81, is too old for another term in office, according to ABC News' Ipsos poll. And 62% of respondents in the poll said that former President Trump, 77, is also too old for another White House term. The professor doesn't disclose what methods or measurements he used in his assessment of the two men. Maybe he just watches them on television. It doesn't matter. He doesn't offer any real evidence of Trump's decline. Biden's decline speaks for itself every time we see him. Just be prepared for more gaslighting about Trump to help Biden as he runs for re-election.